After some shenanigans in the harbor, my party went on their first mission for one of the city's kingpins. And I wanted to do something special for a battle that would ensue. So I built a 2-stage battle, and I'll show you how I set that up in Lego and how the battle went. So my party got tasked with finding a former employee of this kingpin and reminding them to be loyal to the big bad. They went to this neighborhood where a pretty normal looking building stood. They were invited in by an elderly lady, or better, they tricked the lady into letting them in. And while the elderly lady prepared some tea and some muffins, my players went upstairs to find this individual they were looking for. So they entered into the room upstairs, finding this frightened looking fella that was trying to pack their things together in a hurry to leave. And they were basically interrupting them while they were packing to flee. I've set this room up in exactly like I did here. I explained to the players that there is a staircase leading up to this tile, and the entrance is only 1 tile wide, so they needed to get in one after the other. So of course, as my players are, they pretty soon after entering the room initiated a combat situation where they were fighting against this individual. What they didn't know at this point was that this was only the first stage of the combat that had 3 stages. So what I did with the NPC is the NPC tried to trick the players into believing that they would just surrender to them and hear them out. What they were actually doing is trying to conjure something by distracting the players with something, handing them something, and then pulling out a pouch to conjure this circle of runes that I made out of dice pieces for Lego dice from the Heroica sets. But this was only the first thing that was happening. So suddenly there's a big runic circle with colorful flames churning up to the sky inside this room. And of course the players were taken by surprise. The other thing that happened is that our NPC turned into smoke, became much more powerful through the help of this runic magic that was giving him strength, and suddenly had this Eldritch force helping him out in this fight. So in this second stage, where our enemy turned into some kind of wraith, I wanted my players to lose some hit points, but this shouldn't be like a super hard battle. And once the wraith was nearing the bloodied condition, I initiated the third and biggest stage of the battle by this wraith turning into a Hellhound. You might have seen my video on turning one Lego set into multiple monsters. This is one of the monsters that came out of that, and I was really looking forward to implementing that in one of my battles. So of course this Hellhound took up a lot of space in this small scene, and this is when I opened the stage up a little more, because the first thing the Hellhound did was not attack the players, but leave this space, jumping out of this very small door, breaking through it. What I did then is introduce that this, as I said from a narrative perspective, is the second floor. So I actually put it on the second floor and got the rest of the map. And I told you I wanted to do bigger maps, so this is it. So let's see if I get the assembly right. I always document my maps with photos so I can reassemble them when necessary. When transporting maps, they sometimes fall apart, or I need to take them apart in order to fit into the boxes I'm carrying them with. I reused some of the elements I did for my last battle map with the city streets I built there, because I think that it works very well in multiple settings. So what I did in addition to that is I decided to make this height my standard height to use everywhere, because then I could reuse it very easily. So I needed to build some other elevation elements, because my old elevation elements weren't high enough. I made that decision because now I could actually use these standard Lego wall elements, and that makes it much easier to build closed-off structures that I think look way better from the sides, because it's way cleaner. I had a lot of them lying around because I had the Lego Wild West fort that had a lot of these brown elements, so very easy build for me. That works really well with this these front elements as well. The way I transport my maps is I build them up here, and then I break them apart into chunks that fit into these white IKEA boxes that are very easily stackable. I always try to assemble them in a way where one box contains everything for one battle, or in this case, for one scene of the battle, for one stage of the battle. I can easily reveal the parts I want without spoiling the fun by revealing stuff that will happen later on. So by now, you might have noticed some of these strange runes on the floor. And of course my players noticed immediately as well. These runes aid the Hellhound in this battle. Because I didn't want to include a lot of minifigures, as the Hellhound was already pretty big, and I did a big battle in my last session where I had a lot of NPCs running around. So I wanted to try something different this time. So these runes support the Hellhound in the battle. And they get activated a little differently. These black ones, for example, they get activated on initiative count 20. And they function like a healing potion would. So each time we get to initiative count 20 and some of these runes are still active, each active rune gives the Hellhound 2d4 plus 2 healing. So it's imperative for the players to get all these runes destroyed or be able to reduce the Hellhound in one round to 0. Which was possible because the Hellhound, if you look at the stats, it's not like a super buff creature. By the way, shout out to the book I've been reading, Flea Mortals, which I use as my primary monster manual for now, and I really enjoy that. So the stats I'm talking about are from that book. Highly recommend it, check it out. It's from a great publisher. I've heard that they are very active in the community, so yeah. Very good work that they do, and it's really enjoyable to use it. So there are a few other runes as well. We have runes numbered from 1 to 3, and these activate in proximity. So if a player enters their radius, which I defined as all the squares around them, they would get activated. So rune 1, for example, triggers a dexterity saving throw or gives the players fire damage, half if they succeed on the saving throw. So it's basically like a small fireball blowing up in their face. The second rune starts to vibrate the floor, so players lose their footing, and it's a dex save 18 or they would fall prone. So it's to stop players from running away or getting to places on the field. That's what this rune is for. And then we have rune number 3, which is basically the darkness spell cast in a 15-foot radius. And I had them placed at either end of the map, so the Hellhound could trigger the darkness and flee into the darkness to hide away. So the main purpose of these were to give the Hellhound a better chance against my level 5 party of 4. And I must say that I was pretty anxious about this fight because this was the first time I did balancing myself, because there is no real balancing for these runes, or at least I didn't find any. So yeah, I tried to come up with something that felt right, and I feel that the fight dragged out a little long, that there were too many healing runes, or maybe I think my takeaway would be to reduce the healing that the runes give the Hellhound. The Hellhound would have been down on 2 occasions very early in the fight if it weren't for the runes, so it was really good to have them, but I think it should have been easier for the players to disable them. So when setting up the map first, I was thinking about like making it pretty hard to destroy these runes, because I was thinking of my players just running around destroying runes all the time. So I made it easier to disable them and to destroy them. So destroying them, they had an AC and they had hit points, so a strike wouldn't necessarily destroy the rune immediately, and it would they would need to hit high enough to hit it, while disabling it was like on the first try, it was the same DC as the armor class, and if they tried it once and they tried to do it again, it became easier. So yeah, I wanted to make it easy to disable, hard to destroy, or harder to destroy. And they tried only destroying. They didn't try disabling until later in the fight, so that mechanic didn't really come to fruit. Maybe I should have dropped some hints at that it looked like they could disable them, but yeah, the fight dragged out a little long for my taste, so if I would do this again, I would reduce the amount of hit points the Hellhound gets back through these runes, because I think that like destroying one or two is fun, and like yeah, after some time it gets annoying, and I think the fight should have worked without destroying every rune. Like, there's the saying, I think, you should kill the ads first if you're in a battle, but I think for runes it's not as fun as just like killing enemies. So yeah, I should have definitely reduced the number of runes and reduced the healing that they give to the Hellhound. But I try to not fiddle with like balancing while in battle too much, because I think that fun of the game is also that it's always played fairly and I don't adjust hit points or something like that behind the screen. Yeah, I did this when I started out DMing, because I was really shit at balancing, but now I try to like run with it as far as it will go. What I really liked about this setup of the map is this 3-stage battle, because players are used to getting into a battle. If they are finished, they are finished. But this mechanic of, oh shit, this isn't over. Oh shit, this is still not over. And this is getting bigger, is something that I find really interesting in a battle. And I want to, like, now my party has been playing for like some months now. All the players are getting more used to D&D, and I want to break their expectations from every now and then, so it's not becoming too mundane, too routine if a battle is happening. So I really liked that setup, and I liked that it went really dynamically from one stage to the other, because if you're going into a lair, you might have different maps for that lair and different battles happening like one after the other, but it's not really this fluid thing where they don't have any breathing room in between, and that's what I really liked about this setup. Down here you can see that I've built some new designs for my modular terrain, and I'll be reviewing that pretty soon. I had a lot of input from you guys on what designs you liked, so I'm really excited to share that with you in the future. But as I'm already using these and I didn't get around to doing the video yet, I just wanted to show you this map anyways. I hope you enjoyed this 3-stage battle setup, and it gave you some ideas for your campaign. I'm really looking forward to hearing your inspiring ideas and your questions in the comments. Even if I don't get around to answering every comment each time, I still appreciate it. I read every comment, and it's really, really great to have your support on this channel. Thanks so much for being here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.